safety, please remain fully seated, keeping all hands, arms, legs, and feet inside the truck. You're also going to want to hold on to any and all personal belongings. Unfortunately, I cannot stop to retrieve anything if it falls out. Now, the first area we're passing through here is called the Little Ituri Forest. Within this forest are a variety of animals who do use their natural colors and markings to blend into their environment. Camouflage is going to be their best defense against any predators. I do see over there on the right-hand side, that is an okapi. Now, the okapi may look like it is related to the zebra because of its stripes, but actually it is one of the only relatives of the giraffe. They do have a prehensile tongue, which is long enough that they can actually lick their own eyeballs. Nice little party trick. On both the left and right hand sides here, these lovely tan animals, they look like deer. They are called greater kudu. They are the taller of the antelope species, getting to be around 55 inches at the shoulder. Now, females do not have horns, but male kudu do. Male kudu are also solitary in nature, keeping to themselves, but females will form small social groups, usually no more than about 3 to 10 members. Now, over on the right-hand side, that very large black and white bird there, that is called a saddle-billed stork. They do get that name because of the saddle-like shape going across the top of their bill. They can grow to be about 5 feet tall, and they have a wingspan of approximately 9 feet wide. That is roughly the width of the canopy above our heads for reference.
Wow.
Now, unlike other birds that use vocalization noises to communicate, those storks will actually rattle their bills together. The easiest way to tell the difference between a male and a female, it's actually by their eye color. Females have bright yellow eyes, whereas males will have darker brown ones. I'm not seeing anything else around here right now, so we are just going to keep moving. Coming up at the edge of the forest here is going to be the Safi River. Now, the Safi River is an aquatic environment, so it's home to animals that prefer to hang out in or near bodies of water. I do see over on the right-hand side the very large white birds down there. Those are called pink-backed pelicans. They do get that name because of the pink coloration that comes about during mating season. As colonial nesters, they do nest in pairs of approximately 20 to 500. It's a lot of pelicans. Now, during that nesting season, both the mother and father pelicans will work together in order to incubate their eggs for up to 30 days. So they will share that responsibility. Now we're going to keep on heading down river here, see what else might be around. Now, I do see coming up on the left-hand side, just coming into the water there, it's going to be a little hard to see around this corner. Those are Nile hippos. A grouping of hippos is called a bloat. They can hold their breath for up to 8 minutes at a time and will spend a majority of the day underwater so as to keep from overheating. As we continue downriver, also on the left-hand side are going to be some Nile crocodiles. Do remain fully seated at all times, friends. Now, crocodiles are an ectothermic species, meaning they do need to use the surrounding environment in order to regulate their body temperature. This can include having their mouth gaping open as a way to get rid of any extra body heat, or submerging themselves in water as a way to cool down. Now, although the jaws of a crocodile are powerful enough to break the bones of their prey, those same jaws will also be used to help cradle their young eggs when they're about ready to hatch and help to bring the little baby crocs into this world. So the same jaws that take life can also give life. And around here, we do like to call that the circle of life. Coming out of the Safi River region, we are headed over onto the African savanna, which is home to some of the more famous animal species. But here on the right-hand side, this very large abnormal tree is called a baobab tree, sometimes referred to as the tree of life. That is because of its ability to hold thousands of gallons of water in its trunk. therefore surviving extremely intense periods of drought when there is little to no water sources to be found. The baobab tree does go leafless about 9 months out of the year as a way in which to conserve that water. Here on the savanna, the landscape is determined by its residents. Elephants act as bulldozers to clear any trees that they want to eat. Giraffes are going to help prune the underside of remaining trees. And antelope, well, they're going to help cut the grass. So everyone will work together in order to keep things in balance. Now I do see over on the left-hand side, if you look kind of right at the base of the trees near the rock wall there, I'm going to pull up, get a little better look. Looking for multicolored, fluffy animals lying down. Those are called African painted dogs. They are part of the canine family. They are not hyenas, but I still would not recommend cuddling with them. They're one of the most successful hunters out on the savanna with a near 90% success rate. And that is because of their ability to hunt as a pack, often working together to chase down their prey into exhaustion. Also on the left here, the dark brown antelope lying down are called sable antelope, and on the right are some wildebeest. Now the sable antelope is actually the emblem of the Harambe Wildlife Reserve. When it comes to fight or flight, they will fight to protect themselves. In much the same way, here at Harambe, we are fighting to protect these animals. Wildebeest, on the other hand, are one of the most densely packed migrating herd animals, often traveling thousands of miles every single year with upwards of 1.5 million members. Their stampedes kick up so much dust that it can actually be seen from space. But a smaller grouping of them, such as that here on the reserve, is called a confusion or an implausibility. And there is one crossing in front of us right here. Also coming up on the left-hand side here in just a moment, I spot a couple of Hartsman Mountain zebras. Now, Hartsman Mountain zebras are the smaller of the zebra species, but they do have some of the biggest hearts. Each zebra has a unique striping pattern, the same way we have unique fingerprints. Baby zebra will actually imprint on their mothers, memorizing her pattern, so as to recognize her from the rest of the group, to which groups of zebra are called a dazzle. So again, here's those Hartsman Mountain zebra on the left, and that same wildebeest is crossing in front of us again. Here we go. Now I do spot a couple more of those Hartsman Mountain zebra. They'll be coming up on the right-hand side if you weren't able to see them on the left. Also on the right, if you look towards the back tree line there, those little tiny antelope, they look kind of like s'mores. Those are called springbok. They do get that name because of their ability to spring off the ground. When excited or frightened, they will jump about 6 feet high repeatedly, moving forward 13 feet at a time. They are one of the top 10 fastest land animals, averaging speeds of about 55 miles per hour. Now over here on the right-hand side are some Maasai giraffes. And I do want to point something out to you friends here. If you'll notice, there is one lying down. I think there's another one lying down up in the trees there. That's actually really kind of rare to see. Giraffes only do that when they feel safe and comfortable. It lets us know that those giraffes are really happy right now, so that's kind of cool. Now, as I mentioned, these are Maasai giraffe. We can identify them as such because of their irregular puzzle-like pattern to their coat. Giraffes are one of the tallest land animals, standing at an average of 18 to 20 feet high. A grouping of giraffes is called a tower. Baby giraffes are born starting at around 6 feet tall, and they do need to be standing within an hour after their birth. Now, as we continue on our journey here, it does look like we're headed into elephant territory. As I mentioned earlier, elephants are like bulldozers around here, and there are a lot of fallen down trees. Now, it does look like we might have a bit of luck here. I do see straight ahead, coming up soon on your right-hand side, that is an African elephant. Now, we can identify it as an African elephant because, well, we're in Africa. But it's also based on the shape of their ears, which does resemble the continent of Africa. Also on the left-hand side, there is a mandrill monkey. Mandrills are one of the largest of the monkey species. They're very good at the grab-and-go snack method. There are special pouches in their cheeks which allow them to stash away food so they can eat it later when it's safer to do so. Mandrills are both arboreal as well as terrestrial, meaning they spend equal amounts of time up in the trees as they do on the ground. Elephants, on the other hand, are one of the world's largest land animals. They stand at about 13 feet tall, weigh between 4 and 5 tons, which is roughly 13,000 pounds, and they eat about 300 pounds of food per day. They do have a prehensile trunk, which they use in a similar capacity that we do our hands. It allows them to grasp any leaves, trees, branches, hay, things that they typically want to bring to their mouth. They can also be seen throwing dirt on their backs, and that is how they will protect themselves from the sun. Although elephants do have a built-in cooling mechanism. By flapping those large ears back and forth, it allows the air to circulate around their blood vessels and helps to cool them off by as much as 15 degrees. On either side of us here are some red clay pits, and I am seeing a lot of footprints and tusk marks. That is because elephants do like to eat red clay as a way of getting some extra nutrients and minerals, kind of like how we take vitamins. Both male and female elephants do have ivory tusks. It is one of the reasons they continue to be hunted today, so we can help by not purchasing any ivory products, because elephants need those tusks. That's how they're going to dig for food and water and other things, such as that red clay. It also helps them in sparring matches with one another to determine the dominance within their hierarchy. But unlike most other animals, elephants are a matriarchal society, which means they are led by a dominant female. That female is going to be the oldest and wisest in the group, the one who has traveled the most, and therefore knows where all of the good food and water sources are. Over time, she will pass on that knowledge to the rest of the herd, which consists of not only herself as the matriarch, but all of the females, as well as the young males. They stay with their mothers until they're about 14 to 15 years old, right about that rambunctious teenager stage. That's when they get kicked out. That's okay. They'll either go off on their own, or they can join a bachelor group, in which other males will get together, and the oldest ones will then teach important life lessons to the younger ones. Continuing here on the left-hand side are some flamingos. More specifically, these are called greater flamingos. They are the largest and lightest pink of the flamingo species, and they do get that coloration from their diet, which consists mostly of brine shrimp and other aquatic creatures. Baby flamingos are little gray puffballs. It takes them about a year or two in which to develop their pink coloration. A grouping of flamingos is called a flamboyance. That one's just fun to say.
That is.
Now I do see coming up here, going to be on your left-hand side in just a moment. These are white rhinos. Now white rhinos do average around 4,000 to 5,000 pounds, with the ability to run at up to 35 miles an hour. A grouping of rhinos such as this is called a crash. Now, unfortunately, all species of rhinos are still being hunted for those beautiful horns of theirs, which are believed to hold medicinal purposes. But there's really no proof of that. What we do know is that those horns are made of a compact material called keratin. And guess what? That is the same substance that's actually found in our own hair and fingernails. So we can leave those rhinos alone. eyes open around here, because it does look like we might be in big cat territory. Now I do see over on the left-hand side, you gotta kind of look towards the back there, are some cheetahs. Let's see if I can pull up. Now cheetahs are known to be one of the fastest land animals on Earth. They can reach speeds of about 60 miles an hour in under 3 seconds. Their muscular tails help them to change direction when running, and they are one of the only large cats in which to do their hunting in the daytime. So the black tear streaks on their faces protect their eyes from the sun. A grouping of cheetahs is called a coalition. Now in front of us here is what's called Kopi rocks. And Kopi is a word that's used to identify a group or island of rocks set up higher than everything else in the area, which is why they will sometimes be used by large cats such as lions. Now I do see a male lion hiding out behind that rock there on the left. We're going to slowly make our way around, see if we can get a little better look. Now also hanging out here, you can just make out that animal that has the white circle around its butt. That is a water buck. Water buck do have heart-shaped noses, and they secrete a substance onto their coats that makes them extremely stinky, as well as waterproof. So it's these guys right here on the left. Nope. Now, because the water buck have that really stinky coat and it's waterproof, it's actually a really good deterrent from any predators. So most predators don't want to get very close to them. Now I do see a little bit better look at that male lion up there on the left. The male lion can be identified by that large mane of fur surrounding his head, which does weigh upwards of 50 pounds. Now lions are true nocturnal animals, so they do sleep through most of the day, sometimes upwards of 20 hours, and they'll do their hunting at night. It is the female lionesses who do the hunting, and that is so that the male lion can stay back, not only to defend the territory, but also to protect any young cubs. When lions are active and awake, everyone in the area will know about it, and that is because their roar does carry for up to 5 miles.
Oh, look at that.
Continuing on the left-hand side, I do see up ahead here are some warthogs. Warthogs are part of the domestic pig family, but they're also very good at recycling. They will find burrows, those large holes in the dirt there, that are left behind by other animals, and then reuse them for themselves, digging in backwards to keep their razor-sharp tusks exposed for protection. Also on that left-hand side, I see coming up are some ostrich. Ostrich are one of the world's largest birds, but they are flightless, instead using their wings to help them change direction when running at up to 40 miles an hour. All of that running does give them an incredibly powerful kick, which they will use as a way to defend themselves. Now that kick is nothing to joke about. It's actually strong enough to break bones. So that is not a bird that you want to mess with. Now they did appear to be females because their feathering is more of a brownish gray color, whereas male ostrich will be black. Although ostrich are one of the few animals in which if the females are presenting very dominant alpha-like traits, they can actually change their color of feathering to appear as males. Now here in Magadi Glen is the Warden's Post, and I do believe I see some of the Nigerian dwarf goats that they've been keeping. Coming up on the left-hand side, these goats are fully grown adults. That is as large as they are going to get. They have been proven to be extremely valuable, both economically and nutritionally. That is because of the variety of products produced from their milk. Everything from drinkable goat's milk all the way up to soap products. They're also really handy in having around to eat a lot of vegetation that traditional livestock will not eat. And that is because they do have multiple stomachs.
Multiple stomachs.
Well, friends, we are passing through the edge of the reserve now, which does tell me that our 2-week journey is soon coming to an end. But one of the things I'd like you to consider, if you have a favorite animal, whether here on the reserve or elsewhere, I encourage you to learn more about that animal. The first thing that we can do to help is educate, understand, and bring awareness to animals. A lot of the ones we saw out there on the reserve, they are still critically endangered species, and extinction is forever. We're trying to prevent that. So what else can we do? Well, the number one threat facing these animals is habitat loss. And a lot of that is because there's mining for a mineral called coltan. Now, coltan is actually found in electronics, such as our cell phones and computers, but we can recycle those. And the more we do to reduce, reuse, recycle, and replenish, the less habitat space is taken away from these amazing animals. Because our hope and our ultimate goal is that they will be around for generations to come. For any wilderness explorers on board, you have been riding on the Simba 1. That is Simba like the lion and the number 1. So be sure to grab that safari badge over near the exit. I will be dropping you friends off back in the village here momentarily, get you going on your next adventure. Wherever that journey may take you, feel free to come back anytime. No two safaris are ever going to be the same, unless of course you have me, then you'll hear it all over again. Once again, friends, my name is Tori. I do come to you from Rhode Island, and it has been my pleasure to be your safari guide. But I'm not really a fan of goodbyes, so instead I'll say kwaherini, and that does mean to go well. So I do hope that you all go well, go wild, and go make a difference out there. Please be sure to gather all of your personal belongings, watch your head and step